Okay. Welcome everybody to our dream call today. Really excited to do this call with Jennifer Harrison, Lauren Perot, and Brianne. We're so glad and honored that you all are here with us, especially on a Saturday. This is really a sacrifice of your time, and we are grateful for that. So today we are calling all dreamers. I love that word, dream, and I love this topic. So I want you to grab an oil, a dreaming oil. Grab it, put in the chat what oil you are going to be using today, and also where you're tuning in from. We have some friends here all the way from Maine to California. So we are spanning coast to coast, rising up dreamers all across the country today. Would love to hear where you're tuning in from and also what oil you are using. As you go ahead and apply the oil, this dreaming oil, I want you to think about what comes to mind when you hear the word dreaming. Let's just center on that word for a minute. Think what pictures, what images, what concepts come to your mind when you picture or hear the word dreaming. If you look it up in the dictionary, which I did for this, it means a cherished aspiration, an ambition, or an ideal. Today, you are going to hear a lot of aspirations, ambitions, and ideals. You're going to be inspired by many of us who have dreamed and accomplished dreams and are still dreaming, and grateful for this opportunity or this vehicle that provides this ability to not only dream, but then to realize our dreams. It's important, I believe, that we hear inspiration from others. At my very first class that I hosted in my home, my upline came and I enrolled at that class, and she told me a story of a real life woman, our upline, who had just hit diamond that month, and she said she is this month making $20,000 a month. That was really powerful for me, and it planted a little seed that stayed with me for my whole journey, that here was a real life person who was actually realizing her dreams, and I could too. So our goal today is to stimulate you to dream. We want to spark dreaming in you, and we want to ignite the inner dreamer. And maybe that inner dreamer is dormant. We've let a lot of 2020 and life happen to us, and I don't know that we tap into the inner dreamer as often as we were created and designed to do. But dreamers lead, and this world and this country desperately needs dreamers to be a light and to pave the way. So we're calling up dreamers today, and that's who you are, that's what you're here for, and I know you're gonna be inspired. So I know you already applied the oil, but we can never have too much of it, so grab it one more time. You're going to put the oil, a few drops, on your hand. You're going to cup your hands over your nose and mouth for maybe several seconds, maybe even a minute. And I want you, as you breathe in, to say this affirmation: I am a dreamer. I dream big dreams. I am worthy of dreaming for myself and my family. If any thoughts are coming to you as you say that affirmation and breathe in that special oil, I would love for you to jot those thoughts down in your notebook. If that affirmation resonates with you or doesn't, or a fear pops up or a dream pops into your head, take just a second and write down a couple of thoughts you had as you did that affirmation. And you are invited throughout this call to grab that oil again and breathe deeply anytime. If you're facing a feeling of overwhelm or I can't do this, or a fear or a desire to dream and emerge, you can recreate that experience anytime throughout this call and beyond. Okay, I'm going to share with you some of my story of what this income opportunity has meant for me. But first, I just want to say how honored I am to partner with my friends here that I have met through Young Living in this event and sharing our thoughts with each other and with you all. Oh, so excited. Okay, here's my brief story, and then I'm going to hand it over to them so they can share their stories and you can dream with us. I am a registered nurse. I live in Southern Indiana with my husband, who is a pastor. That makes me a pastor's wife. I never knew I'd have that title, but I'm owning it. I have a stepson who's almost 18 and two biological sons who are in 5th and 6th grade. And I came to Young Living 6 years ago because I was desperate to find a way to decrease our visits to the doctor. We were pretty dependent on modern medicine, and as a registered nurse, I did not know how to keep us well. It's a story for another day. But I was desperate to look for a way to move away from our dependence on modern medicine. At the time when I came into Young Living, I was working part-time as a nurse outside the home in the hospital. As I mentioned, I was a pastor's wife of a growing church, had young sons at the time. The little ones were 4 and 5. And I would describe our life then as busy and surviving. That's what we were doing. We were surviving. We were month to month. We were working hard, but never really seemed to get ahead. We were in that hamster wheel of normal American life, but nothing ever really could change to get us out of that. Even though we were dreaming, we couldn't seem to just push out of this busy survival mode. I was not looking for a business, especially one in network marketing. However, I saw results very quickly with Young Living, and I just shared with friends because we saw results with Peppermint, and I told them about that. And they wanted to get the kit. They saw results, they shared with their friends, and this organic business emerged. They started asking me to teach classes for them and for their families, and we just grew this business even though it wasn't expected. I worked that first year, as I was doing all the other things, 5 to 10 hours a week. I dedicated to my Young Living business doing income producing activities, and we hit silver in 13 months. We hit gold a year later. We hit platinum a year after that, and we maintained gold every month since then. Here's what the opportunity has done for me, and I'm just going to list out some bullet points of how this has changed my life, and then I'll turn it over to you guys. These are in no particular order, just as things came to my mind. Here's what they are. Young Living, I might cry with this first one. 4 years ago, because of Young Living, I said goodbye to my corporate job at the hospital, a job that I loved, but a job that was not allowing me to be home, which was my dream, to be home. And I never thought it was going to be possible. But because of Young Living, I said bye, and I came home full time. Young Living replaced my salary as a registered nurse. My wildest dreams. I never thought it would happen, but it came true. And then it allowed me to fulfill my next dream, which for me was to homeschool our younger boys. And we're now in our 5th year of homeschooling. And for me, that was a dream come true. Now, when I talk about my income, you need to know that I keep some of my income for my business, and then I pay my family, I pay myself in our general budget fund, okay? And as your income grows, that'll be something that you'll do as well. So my check that we pay ourselves covers our mortgage. Amazing, huge relief. This opportunity has allowed me to invest in my personal development. I get to go to seminars and go to trainings and fly to conferences and invest in business coaches because of this opportunity. I've had free trips with my husband to Silver Retreat and Gold Retreat. And Silver Retreat was where he got on board with this as a business opportunity. So it was very valuable in that. This is an intangible benefit. Young Living has turned my Mondays into my favorite day of the week. I look forward to Mondays now. I don't schedule anything outside the home on those days, and those are protected days that I love. It's given me time freedom. Now I work hard. I work really hard for my business, and you will too if you want to accomplish these dreams, but I work when I want to and how I want to. I'm able to bless my team with gifts and invest in the lives and development of others. I've gained a friendship and a community, case in point right here, that has literally changed my life. Some of the friends on this team have been with me through so much, and then these girls in the Fab Five, we've walked through a lot together that has been life-changing for me. Through this, I've learned leadership skills. I've learned how to be a leader because of this journey. This business pays for a house cleaner for me. Woo, woo. We now have wiggle room in our monthly budget. I don't pay for childcare costs because I'm home. It takes some pressure off of my husband to be the sole breadwinner. This Young Living pays for all of our oils, cleaning supplies, personal care products, makeup, and supplements. Thank you, Young Living. This residual income has given me freedom to take off when I need to. And last year, when my husband walked through a devastating experience with amnesia, I was able to put my business aside and focus on what he needed and still get paid. And then finally, just from my faith perspective, I feel compelled to say that when I get to heaven, I won't wish that I had sold another bottle of oil. I'll just be real transparent with you. I love selling bottles of oils because they do change lives. But ultimately, when I get to heaven, I won't say, you know, I wish I had sold one more bottle of oil. But I will look at God and say, thank you for bringing Young Living into my life. Because number one, it changed me and it transformed me and refined me to make me into a person that I never thought I'd be. And number two, it gave me a platform to offer hope to so many more women than I ever would have had access to were it not for Young Living. So for all those ways and so many more, Young Living has completely changed my life, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to my friend Brianne, and she's gonna share with us her dreams.
Hi. How's it going, guys? Okay, I was getting all choked up while you were talking, so I don't know what's gonna happen over here. That's good stuff. So I'm Brianne. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I live here with my 3 kiddos and my husband, and I started Young Living about 6 years ago. I had no intention to do the business side whatsoever. In fact, I told my enroller, please don't talk to me about that weird salesy thing, because she was not salesy. She was very nice, but I was like, I don't want to be the Mary Kay lady. I don't want to, be chasing people down. So like, just give me this. I need the lavender and the thieves, And so anyways, what ended up happening was I went through my oils. I was obsessed with them. I couldn't get enough. I wanted more. And my husband and I, this is where I get choked up. So I was a stay-at-home mom with 2 little kids because I was so passionate about being a mom. I really wanted to stay home with my kids. The problem was that we were making like $30,000 a year on my husband's salary because I was a really young mom. We got married at 21, popped out the babies really when I was young. And so I was like, I really want to stay home, but I don't know how we can afford our bills, but I just knew I wanted to be home. So we were living paycheck to paycheck. And if you looked at our budget, like we had a budget and we looked at it and we're like, these numbers literally make no sense. Like we could not even afford it. Somehow we were paying everything and God always provided for what we needed, but it didn't make sense on paper. It really didn't. And so anyways, when it came to buying, I used money. So I really wanted more lavender, really bad. And he's like, yeah, $30 for a bottle of oil. Like, we can't afford that. That's like grocery money. And so I had to get creative and come up with a way so I could get the lavender and the thieves, reorder those two that I really wanted, the lavender and the thieves. So my friend said, hey, why don't we just have a little gathering in your home with some of your friends, anyone you can share. And at the same time, I had someone recently in my life, a mentor of mine, tell me, Brianne, I think you have the gift of teaching. And I never thought of that. And I kind of aligned, it was just a really like ordained thing, because that happened at the same time that my friend said, let's teach a class. And so the light bulb went off, like, yeah, I think I could teach about these oils, because I love oils. And I think I could teach about, just the starter kit. At least I don't know that much, but I can at least just share on what I'm using and how much I love it. So the class came and I was gushing like a little schoolgirl, oh my gosh, you have to try this one. Oh, and then this one. And then I used this one and it knocked out my 6-month-old. Like, he was trying and then he was tired. I mean, it was amazing. Like, these stories just came gushing out of me. And so what happened that night of my first class, even though I had no intention, was that I sold some starter kits and I had the money to be able to get some more. And so what happened then is I was like, all right, great. That was so much fun. Actually, I didn't expect to have that much fun. I just needed some more money to buy more oils, but it was so fun. I did it again the next month. And then I asked mine, can we do it again? Can we do it again? And it was fun. And it filled me with so much purpose, because then my friends would come back to me like, oh my gosh, this oil did this for me. This oil helped me with this. And I was like, yeah, and I got to play a part in that. I felt so much purpose. And so what Young Living has done for me is it's given me purpose, because as a mom with little kiddos, I thought that was going to fulfill, like, oh, my deepest dream when I was 5 years old, get married and have kids. Like, that was literally it. Like, it was my princess dream. Like, I just want to have a family. And then that happened. And the kids are like, pooping and throwing up all over me. And I'm like, this is not what I thought I was signing up for. This is not fulfilling all of my dreams. And so what Young Living did for me was it gave me an outlet to share passion, to share creativity, and to help other people, and also help fulfill a lot of my relational needs, because I love people and I love just helping people. And so it gave me this huge outlet to create, to have purpose, to have fun. So that's probably my number one of what it's really done for me on that level. And then there's all these other fun things that just came as a bonus. So I got to pay off my oils. At first it was just 100 every month, and then I got to bump it up. And now I can get whatever I want, whenever I want. And my husband doesn't say anything. If it goes above 500, sometimes he's like, maybe we should pull back. But, on average, I can spend, 300 to 500 a month. And he's like, whatever, it's great. And then I wrote down house cleaner as well, Shannon, because that was huge for me. So when we hit the rank of gold, like, that was a thing that we discussed. Like, when we hit gold, we're going to be able to have a house cleaner. And that was such a miracle. And then the next really exciting thing that happened was I told the Lord. So we had a very, very small house. It was about 1,300 square feet, but it was upstairs and downstairs split level. So the downstairs, is about 700 square feet. And I love to host people to my home. I love to fill it with people and laughter and food. And I couldn't really host that much stuff. If I had 10 people over there, we were like bumping elbows. So I made a deal with the Lord and I said, hey, God, if we could somehow get a bigger home, so I will host all the things and use it for your glory and do ministry in my home. And so the Lord granted that, and our paycheck kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And then we were able to buy a much larger home 2 years ago. which was huge for us and a huge, huge blessing. So much more room. Another thing is we were able to go on family vacations. We could never afford to go on vacation before. That was a dream, you know, like, yeah, right. We're, you know, just barely making it. Like, we can't go on vacation. So that's been a huge blessing. We got to go to Disneyland in December. We'd never taken our kids to Disneyland, and we go on beach vacations every year. So that's been a huge blessing. And then the last final thing we've been able to do is start a gift fund. And so we take a portion of my Young Living income because I believe so strongly that, like, we are blessed that we can be a blessing. And I know that this business was just such a gift from the Lord to us and to our family. And so God moves through, and you know, it's because of him that we have this. And so we were able to create a fund that we can just put a portion of my paycheck every month, and it's fun money. So it's like, if I hear that there's a need in our community or through someone we know, we're able to just give freely because that money is, like, already set aside for that reason. We were blessed to be a blessing. So that is some things that we've been able to do. And my number one thing is to be able to just help other people achieve their hopes and dreams, because it's been such a blessing to me.
Awesome. Bree, that's I can't even. Isn't this so amazing, you guys? I am just so pumped to be here. I'm going to do my little stopwatch here because I have a tendency to talk a lot. So I'm Jen Harrison. My Snoop Dogg name is Jay Hizzle because I'm from Cali. And my team name is Peppy Lime because I'm super peppy and I love peppermint and lime in the diffuser. So if you haven't done that, try it. Get on it. Something about me is I get really nervous with Zoom calls. So you're just going to have to just love me through this. I talk super fast, so I'm going to try to just do the things. Okay, deep breath. Okay, so you guys, thank you, Shannon. I still got valor on my hands. Okay, so I started this journey unexpectedly. Imagine yourself pregnant, right? And you're like at a women's retreat, and everyone's having a good time, and you are sick. And normally you would take some NyQuil, but you know, story is that's not good for the baby. So you're like freaking out. What do I do? This is gonna be the worst trip ever. Well, all of a sudden these women are like passing around these little bottles to me, and they're like, here, put this in your mouth, you'll feel better. And I was like, not wanting anything to do with it. I thought, this is crazy, no thank you. But they gave me a little bit. I took it. My roommate was Jody Meschuk. So if you guys, anyone knows her, I didn't stand a chance, you guys. And so literally what I ended up doing was taking it in the middle of the night, just like my throat was burning. And I just, through that journey, was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I feel better. I was just so impressed. And so through that, I really started looking into what the opportunities were. So a little bit about me. I'm married 15 years to my husband, Doug. He's a teacher, a worship pastor. We have 2 little girls, Charlie Sue and Paisley Blue. And they are 6 and 8. And my background was in fashion. And so I was like traveling and doing all the things, dressing people up. If anyone knows St. John Knits, so it's like, you know, Angelina Jolie, all those things. And it was really not that purposeful, but I did it because I loved it. And then here's my husband, right, who's like molding these young minds, right? He's a teacher, which, hello, anyone else have extra respect for teachers these days? Just saying, they should be making $1 billion, right? So I really had always looked for purpose, but didn't really know. I always kind of made a joke like, oh, babe, here's you molding these minds. And here's me like, oh my gosh, you need the handbag. Oh, it's $5,000, but that's okay. And what about the matching shoes? And it just felt so vain. And so I think really all along, God obviously had this plan for me. And so what ended up happening was, like I said, I started using this Thieves, and then I had another little sample. And back then, no one was really like hardcore closing people. So you guys, I started with a basic starter kit. Do you guys remember that with just the diffuser? I didn't even get the starter kit, you guys. Like I was like, And then I had gone to my class and I was all excited and I was like, oh my gosh, I got an oil for that. Like, what is it? And then I was like, oh, I have stress away. Like it only came with stress away. And so I wanted to be able to get the entire creme de la creme of the starter kit. And so that was really my journey. And I'm the type of person who loves to recommend things. Okay, so right now, Trader Joe's lentil dip. If you don't know about that, get on it. Impress nails. They're like these fake nails that are amazing. You can use Coke on your chalkboard to make it more black. Did you know that? So here's me like sharing all these tips and never getting paid for it, right? It was like just a thing I did. I feel such joy in sharing with other people. So I'm at a pool party and talking to some ladies. My husband's a teacher, and so he has a huge circle of influence. And so we're standing there and I'm like, you guys, they're like, oh guy, now what? I'm like, thieves, you guys, have you heard of it? And they're like, a couple ladies were talking about it. And they were like, I've heard about it. And they all wanted to support me as the teacher's, wife. And they're like, do you sell it? And I was like, I will get back to you. And so that just kind of started my journey where I ended up selling 3 starter kits without even trying. And, it was just such a passionate thing. And my mom says, so I used to sell swimsuits in Nordstrom. And you guys, my mom used to say I could just like sell anything. But the thing was, is that I would tell people the truth. And I would tell her, she's like, what's the thing? I'm like, well, the thing is if you tell people a lie or you tell people that they look good in a swimsuit or in something, they're going to go home to the people that they love. And then the people that they love are going to be like, no. And then they're going to come back and then they're going to be like, yeah, no, I don't trust you. So trust is a really big thing. And so I just really believe that I'm making people's lives better. Like, honestly, I'm not selling oils. I'm making people's lives better. So that's been like 5 minutes almost. So let me wrap this up. So some of the things that Young Living has brought to me through my journey. I hit silver in 6, then I hit gold. I'm platinum, working towards diamond. Number 1 is house cleaner for sure. Followed by a close second, I have a meal prep. So I actually have 3 meals a week that someone cooks for me. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. I love being a mom, you guys, but I just needed a little something extra. Like I needed something for myself that I could control. Any control freaks out there? No, just me? Okay, thank you. It's like, what? If you need another snack, at least I could, be careful in my business. So that's been huge for me. Disneyland. So we live in California. We're so sad Disneyland is closed, but we have passes to Disneyland from me being able to use that income. I ended up buying a new car. My radio was like stuck in the same thing and I listened to it for years. Haiti. So Doug and I have a huge heart for missions, for giving back. I give 10% of my income back to lots of different charities. But really what's been amazing is we sponsored 2 kids in Haiti. And then we also recently are able to sponsor 1 child in Ecuador. So when we went there recently for the Platinum Retreat, my husband was one of the people with Dallas Harding who talked about the computer lab. And we were like, my husband was like, the teachers don't have anything to print. And so that was such an amazing thing. And so we were able to, sponsor more there. I have made a little, like a capsule collection of diffuser jewelry where 100% of the proceeds go back to my organization in Haiti. It's called Hand Up Global Goods. I'm able to help with their education. There's 11 boys who are transitioning out of an orphanage and back on the streets. And so I'm able to help with that. So lots of really cool charity things. As a mama, I wasn't able to go out to Haiti as my husband goes. So I was able to kind of drum up this business at home and still give and feel like I was a part of that organization. Best friends, this Fab 5 group is amazing and awesome. And I love every one of them. So that's really great. Fun money. We have fun money where it's like mommy's got a different credit card and sometimes we go and do fun stuff. And that's just so freeing. I mean, I love marriage and I love my husband and we have all of our money together. Sometimes I think it's a bad idea, but to each their own. That's your business. But to have a little bit of fun money, you guys, I think it strengthens my marriage. So put that on there, like on your list. It strengthens your marriage to have a little extra money. And then my girls. So this is to come. So to come when I still want my dream. I'm not stopping dreaming. I'm dreaming. So we're going to be buying an RV. What? We're buying an RV. Diamond trips. You guys, when you hit diamond, you get to go on a trip with Young Living. I mean, let's see how that all works out in the new normal. Every single year. What? Does anyone want to go on a trip every year? I do. Sorry, you guys. I know this is really intense, but it's very exciting. I'm sweating. Peppermint, guys. Get the peppermint going. Okay, a couple more things. I'm partnering with Young Living, or trying. I've been trying for the last 4 years to get Young Living to come build a school like they did in Ecuador, in Haiti. It's very hard. I've been talking to Greg. I've been talking to Lauren. There's a Marengo plant that's in Haiti. I'm doing all those things, so that's on the docket. And then my girls at private high school. Private high school is very, very expensive, and there's a really great one next to my house. So those are the things that I'm wanting. But regardless, you guys, this is like, again, sorry, so long. This is your journey, you guys. This is, you can make it whatever you want. And that's the craziest thing, you guys. Like, I just wanted the freaking starter kit oils. I just wanted the starter kit oils. And on the product piece, I haven't even said anything about the product piece and how that has changed my life, how, you know, basil boosted my milk supply. My husband has lost 60 pounds doing the Whole30, but doing it the oily way. His life is better. My life is better. You guys, okay, last little story. So my husband, when we were first married, we had infertility. Guys, it's like I'm doing a workout over here, you guys. Come on. Okay, pare it down. So when we were first married, my husband would come home from working his like 6 jobs, you guys. He did tutoring, he did guitar, he's a worship leader, he did youth ministry, all these things. I'd be exhausted with 2 little girls under 2. And I'd be like, go play with the kids, I'm trying to make dinner. And he would fall asleep on the ground. And I still this day remember being like, that's not playing with them, you're sleeping. And he's like, I'm not sleeping, I'm resting my eyes, and that whole thing. And so it was miserable. And I knew we could not go on like that. And so whatever that little spot you're in where you're like, I'm on the hamster wheel, like Shannon said, like, I am in control of my own life. I need to change this. And you guys can, you can. And it's hard. This business has chewed me up and spit me out at times, guys. This summer has been so hard. I'm like hanging on to platinum, hanging on like by my little fingertips. But you guys, it is so worth it. So here's us. We're traveling. We take the summer off. Every single summer in the last 3 years, my husband and I travel. We've been home maybe 1 week, like the whole summer. So it is such a transformation. I think about that girl in that kitchen who was drowning and could not go on like that. I don't know where I would be without Young Living. So I'm just so grateful. I hope you guys see this opportunity. I hope you grab it, and I hope you give it everything you can. Mwah.
Okay, Jen. Oh, when Jen cries, it's all over for me. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I love you so much. Okay. Whoa. Beautiful. So hi, everybody. I'm Lauren, and I'm from Maine. And I am just, of course, always honored to share space with the wonderful women that make up this Fab Five. We miss Molly today. She couldn't join us, but she's here in spirit, I know. And at some point, you'll be able to hear her story as well. She's amazing, just like the others in this group and all of you. And so I want to thank you for taking the time to just join us and to listen to this. And I hope that as you're hearing us speak, that you can hear a promise in what we're saying, and imagine yourselves in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, doing this same thing. Like, maybe that's really hard to grasp as a possibility, but just try it on. Just try on what that might look like for you. So similar story as the other women in this group, and probably many of you. I got started with my starter kit actually 6 years ago this month. I actually got my starter kit to prove my best friend wrong about the oils. In other words, she had been hassling me for about a year about how I needed to get the oils, and she's from California, and I was like, this is just some California mumbo jumbo. Like, I don't know, you guys do weird stuff out there. No. A little background, I have a background in research, so I was an academic. I've been to Ivy League institutions. I was like a major science person, psychiatric brain research, and also I've been a yogi for 25 years. So I had these kind of 2 disparate parts of myself that I had always a very hard time bringing together. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. So I had this sort of disparate identity, and I was like in an identity crisis. So along come oils. I was a single mom at that time. I recently divorced. My daughter was just about 2, and living in Maine. I was a grad student online. I was isolated. I'm not from Maine. I didn't like living here, and the oils popped into my life. And I got them because of seasonal sneezing and nose blowing and all of the things that are happening right now. And and I got them to prove my friend wrong. Well, I pulled out the lavender, put it on the roof of my mouth, and that's a story for another day. But bottom line is, all of those, the sneezing and the sniffling, gone within a day. And so just naturally, like I do, like Jen was saying, you know, I just told people about it. I put a picture of my 2-year-old with her face over the diffuser up and was like, look at this, is so cool. Ellery loves this. And then suddenly people wanted to know about it. On my time hop today, actually, I should pull this up for you guys to show you. I should have had this at the ready. And my time hop today was like my first post 6 years ago, where I was saying like, okay, everybody, these oils actually work. It's this. So I'll read it to you. I wrote, my life is changing because of essential oils. Seriously, stay tuned for more info. Thank you, Allie, Kari, Tori, and Heather for finally getting me here. Diffusing joy and drinking my coffee with a drop of peppermint oil, and it's a great morning. Like, it was just true. And I want to tell you this, I had no interest in the business. None. I wasn't even on Essential Rewards at that point. Like, I just loved the oils and they surprised me. So fast forward. It was a side hustle. It was something fun on the side. I had moments where I was like, this is too much. There's too many people texting me, asking me what to use lavender for and what do I use for a diaper rash. Like, this is not my job, and I have other things I'm doing in my life. Like, I'm doing other things, not this MLM. No, like, this is on the side. And I was almost kind of ashamed of it. I'm going to tell you the truth. I was a little ashamed of it. I kept it secret. I had like everything was separate. I have my this, everything was separate in my life. And so I was living my life and people were enrolling and that was cool. And then there were some people underneath me who were starting to do the business. And that was kind of interesting and weird because I was like, wow, they're like really taking off and my paycheck is growing. And I had some guilt about that. And I felt kind of like a fraud. But again, it was like, but this is not my job. So, okay, that's kind of nice. And thank you. And okay, I'm just going to go over here and do all these other things. I opened a yoga studio. I got married. We opened a big wellness center. I spent insane amounts of money just pouring into a brick and mortar business, which ultimately we closed. And I want to tell you my buy-in moment, the moment when I realized that this business was a golden egg, that I was pushing away and sitting on a rotten egg. I was sitting in my office in my yoga studio, and we had a big business. We had crazy overhead. Just our overhead was $7,000 a month. Just our overhead, like just our rent and a couple of other things. My husband is a chiropractor. And I was teaching 14 yoga classes a week while pregnant and running a large business and doing all the back work and all the admin. Anyway, bottom line is I'm running payroll and I'm paying all my teachers. Even though the yoga studio wasn't growing as fast as I wanted to, I promised the universe and them that I would pay them a good amount of money because yoga teachers are often abused financially. Anyway, separate story. So I'm running payroll and I'm not kidding. I'm like sitting there looking at the payroll on ADP and I'm looking at the bank account and I'm like, man, this is going to be close. Like, I really hope that we don't have something comes through, some, auto pay or something happens and then we're overdrawn and payroll is dinged. In that moment, my Young Living commission comes in, which is once a month around the 20th of the month. It was almost the exact amount of money to the dollar as the money that I was running, as what payroll was going to be for that pay period. And I got it. Like, I was like, oh, this is something. I am making this somehow, some part of me, unintentionally or with not a whole lot of conscious effort, has manifested this abundance coming through from Young Living. And I was doing things with my team, but I wasn't doing like what I'm doing now. And it's just coming through and I'm literally passing it over to these people over here. And none of it is going to land in my life. We were house poor. We worked nonstop. We had no money ever. I mean, money would come in, it was gone, in, gone. My husband worked crazy hours, seeing tons of patients every week. We paid everybody really well because we don't want to take advantage of people, but we had nothing left for ourselves. And it was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. And I got it. Here's the golden egg. So I called my sponsor, my enroller, Kari Friedman, who's Crown Diamond, and I was like, I think I need to get back into this business. And she was like, I've been waiting 4 years for you to call me and say this. And I had to prove it. I had to prove it. And I did. We closed our studio about a year later. And now I want you guys to know what's happening in our lives. My husband, who is a chiropractor, who for his entire life has been the breadwinner, and very successfully so. His practice is closed. We had a baby in June, and in May he was diagnosed with Lyme and Bartonella, which are tick-borne illnesses that are very common in the Northeast where we live. He got very sick, debilitated. Even if the office had been open, there is no way that he would have been able to work. He couldn't even pick up like a Brita water filter. That's how weak he was. It was terrifying. There's no way he could have adjusted patients at that time. And I was pregnant. And my Young Living paycheck, it's okay. It's okay. Like some things we've had to cut out, you know, I mean, I do shop on Amazon like way more than I should. But we're okay. And thankfully we did get an SBA loan, but we don't need it. That's the beautiful thing. It's just sitting there. Right now, we're actually looking at like, what do we even want to do with the office? My husband, who has been this identity of Dr. Paul his entire life, is finally able to actually take a look at whether this is what he even really wants to do with his life moving forward. He loves being a dad. He is the best dad ever. And he's home with our kids and he is doing everything. And I love it because I'm home too. And they're upstairs right now and he's playing with them. And I'm down here on this call with you guys. And at any moment he could bring the baby in and I could nurse during my work phone call, by the way, no problem, right? And this is all happening because of Young Living. And Young Living for me has given me, we talk about wellness, purpose, and abundance. And I come back to those three things every single day. There is no other job that I could have that would give me access to all three of those things every single day the way it does. I was going to be a clinical psychologist. I was going to work at an Ivy League institution. I would never make the money that I'm making right now. Never doing those jobs. And I love those jobs, but I am so glad I'm doing this. Our next rank is Diamond. We're close. We're getting closer. I want to tell you guys what is going to be possible for us at Diamond. We're going to be able to pay off hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. I'm not kidding you. Because of our business and our student loans. I mean, it's just sitting there, right? It's just sitting there and it's going to go away within a couple of years. We're going to be able to pay it off. It will be gone. Talk about freedom. We are going to be able to travel. We're going to be able to teach our kids the way we want to teach them, which was never something I ever dreamed of wanting before Young Living. And all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, I think I can do a really good job of this because I'm going to have a lifestyle where I'm not killing myself every single day, working my butt off to make not enough money and stressing out all the time. In my bank account right now, every single day, there are thousands of dollars just sitting there. That's money that I made. I made that money. I've never had that before. I've always lived paycheck to paycheck. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten those horrible letters from the bank that I'm overdrawn. You know that feeling, and you call and you beg, please don't charge me $70, $35, and it's that endless cycle. Those days are behind me. They're behind me. So I just want to say to you guys, like, I did not want this, but I really did need it. And my sponsor held the vision for me for as long as it took until I got here. And wherever you are in your business, somebody is holding that vision for you, and you are going to hold that vision for others. And that is the beautiful gift of this business. We do this together. So I am going to stop. I'm going to hand it over to Caroline. I think, right? Does that make sense? And Caroline is a silver on my team, and she's going to share a little bit of her journey with you guys. But please connect. We're all in this together, and so thank you for having me. Okay, Caroline, you're up.
Thank you, Lauren. I love listening to your story. Every time I hear it, Oh, it's the best. Hi, everybody. My name is Caroline Cabral, and I got my oils about almost 6 years ago, like a little over 5.5 years ago, and I just had success story after success story, like so many of us. I had a 1-year-old and I was really pregnant with my second, and my 1-year-old was not sleeping, and everybody knows what that's like when you're so pregnant. And my enroller, Kari Friedman, had been talking about these oils and how they were so great for moms and how they were the easy button and whatever. So I was just like, you know what, I'm desperate. Like, I don't know if this is really going to work. I don't know if this is like this like crazy, mumbo jumbo, but I'm going to try it. I am desperate. And the first day that I diffused, my 1-year-old that would not sleep took a 3-hour nap. And I was like, oh, these are pretty cool. So I kept using them and they smelled great. Like, I just didn't get it at that point. And after I had my second baby, I had some like really bad like postpartum stuff. I was really like having those blues, and I started. I was on all these medications, and I looked at this box, and I was like, you know what? I have this wellness box. I might as well try a couple oils and see if they work. I mean, it can't hurt, right? And I used 2 oils, and within 1 month, I was able to stop taking all of the stuff that had been given to me, prescribed to me. And it was, I mean, there's always a time and a place for modern medicine, but if you can heal yourself with plants, why not? So that was my whole mindset. I fell in love with them. And I kept thinking to myself, if I keep this to myself, and I know they work so well, I'm seeing other people struggling with similar issues, I'm kind of a jerk. I feel bad. Like, why am I not telling everyone about it? But I was a little nervous, and I just kept using them and having more success stories. And then let's see, I was talking to Lauren the couple, like 4.5 years later. And I was like, I want more purpose in my life. I love being a stay-at-home mom. It's so wonderful. I love being home with my kids, but I miss having my career. I had a career. I was director of a public relations department of a really big retail company. And I loved it, but I had left because I didn't want to be leaving my kids all day. I just didn't want to. So I went home, and I was lucky to be able to do that. But I missed having that purpose. And Lauren was like, why don't you try doing a class and see how it feels? And I was like, okay, sure. I'll host a class. I wasn't really expecting much, but I hosted a class. I had about 15 friends come, and almost all of them enrolled. And I was like, oh, I guess there really is a need for this. And I just shared my story. I told them, the things that I was using that was working well for me, and it resonated with people. There were other people that needed more energy, that were experiencing the postpartum blues that I was too. Just so many different things that were working well that I shared. So from there, this was about last May. So within 6 months later, I hit silver. It just grew really quickly. And during that time, I was hosting a lot of classes, and I was putting in the work, but it grew quickly, and it was amazing. And within that time, there was a contest going on that Young Living had, and it was to win a trip to Hawaii. And they were going to send the top 250 people to Hawaii. And I wasn't really paying attention. I had just started. And then within the last month, I was like, I think I could do this if I like really like focus and try. So I started running for it, and we won. And we earned this trip. And so we get there, and it was amazing. I mean, just being around the heart of the company and seeing all of these super successful people at Young Living, just so happy. My husband kept saying, these people do this full time and they're this happy. Like, he's just used to being in the corporate world where everyone is just, just down and not like glowing, right? So one day we're at dinner, and this was my big turning point moment. And we're sitting at dinner with some people we didn't know. There's a few platinums and diamonds. And one of the husbands looks over at my husband and was like, so has she retired you yet? And we were both like, and my husband's in, early 40s, and we look at each other and we're like, retire? And he's like, yeah, that's what happens with Young Living. All of the husbands, we're all retired here. And it was like, whoa, like light bulb moment. Like, this is life changing money. And it was never about the money. It was more, I was more purpose driven. I wanted to help people, and getting messages daily from members saying, this Progestin Plus changed my life. The Ningxia, I have so much energy. I can play with my kids. Like, just so many different things that were like messages coming in constantly. That's what filled me up. But then to hear this and to think, you know what, you can retire early. So we kept working, and from there, my husband was at the time commuting 2 hours each way to his job, and so 4 hours a day. And he was getting home like almost 8 o'clock at night every night, leaving 5 o'clock in the morning some days. And he was able to leave that job and take a job closer to home. So now he can be home more and ironically, he left this job right before COVID hit. So he's home anyway. But now that he's back, he's able to have this shorter commute. I'm able to help pay our mortgage. I'm able to contribute to the household. And I love being able to do that. And to your point, Shannon, like, I love having, some fun money and having my own thing. So being home with my kids and like having that time and financial freedom, like no other career would have given that to me. If I'm now making what I made when I was the director of PR for this really big retail company, and I was working 80 hours a week. I put in a couple hours a day when I want to, when I can, when in between homeschooling, and I'm able to hire tutors now to help my kids because I am like not the best homeschool teacher. So we've been able to hire tutors and babysitters to help out around the house. And it's just been such a blessing. I had resisted starting the business for so long because it wasn't the typical career path for someone in the Northeast that had gone to college, and like I just didn't know anybody else that had really done it. So when I finally kind of understood the purpose piece, it was like something clicked and I was able to really run. And it's all about, like, this company is just so amazing because it's people over profit. Like, yes, it's a company, so they need to make profits, but it's all people driven. Like, they just want to help people. And, I really saw that, like, being in Hawaii and visiting the farms and seeing, how they're so focused on sustainability when other oil companies weren't focused on that, and they were in the, having a little farm next door and seeing the way they ran their business versus Young Living. So it's just, it's such an incredible company to be a part of. And, it's exciting. It's exciting to see where everything's going and how many people we've been helping. So that is, that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caroline. Loved hearing your story and your passion as well. Wow. What a call. What an hour this has been. I would love for you to tell us in the chat something that you liked, something that you learned, an inspirational nugget that you got. Go ahead and put that in the chat. And also hope that you've seen that money in the hands of good people can do a lot of good and change a lot of lives. And you are part of a movement. We want you to be sharing and having the same story and then duplicating that story with others. Whatever you dream, it can be possible. It can happen. And work hard and see it align for you. We know it's possible. We've lived it. So hopefully you've heard from real life people and you have been inspired. I am seeing, loving the meal prep, yes, and the tangible things and the intangible things of how our life has been changed. If this is something that you are inspired by and you want to grab a hold of and you're like, okay, I'm ready, let's do this. There's no better time like the present. Then reach out to whoever invited you to this call. We have tools and resources to hold your hand and walk you through this journey of dreaming and seeing your dreams come true. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending time with us today. We will put this call on a YouTube link, and you can go back and look at it or listen to it anytime you need a little extra oomph and fire, and share it with your friends. Lauren, did you want to say something before we close out?
Oh, no, I was just going to say thank you.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you. We love you. Keep dreaming. Have an amazing weekend. We'll talk more soon. Bye-bye.